So now that the warmer weather is upon Northeast Ohio, one thing that's kind of been an annoying condition of Unit 23 is that most of the side windows don't open. After a decade sitting outside, I think they just probably build up enough gunk that they don't move, and that's quite annoying when you're trying to drive or someone's trying to ride with you, and there's little to no airflow because the side windows don't open. So I'm going to not necessarily do restoration on any windows at this point. This is more of an operational investigation, try to get these things working. It's kind of twofold. One, the windows aren't opening, and actually in some of them too, the locks themselves are kind of stuck. So I think those need a little bit of elbow grease, if you will. So I'm going to take a look at those inside. So the first thing that I kind of noticed digging through the maintenance manual is that these old look buses have 3 possible window configurations, or manufacturers, I should say. So the first one that they talk about here is the Visionator, and I'll say this, that it seems to be the most, or the easiest way to kind of identify these different ones is actually the latch that's on them. So the Visionator kind of has a smaller latch. The other one, the Adam and Westlake, kind of has a protruding latch on it. And then the last one is this O.M. Edwards, where the latch actually is on the top, it appears, and the windows only seem to slide down versus sliding up. So I'll say this, the one that my particular GM TDH 4512 has is the Visionator windows, which is, sounds like a very aggressive window brand. But so anyway, so the directions are pretty straightforward. They talk about how to remove it, each window, and how to install it. So I've never done this, so this will be my first, but probably not my last attempt at doing this. Because again, there's 10 windows aside, so 20 windows in total, and I can't remember how many open. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to check to see how many of these things even work, and then what I'll do is I'll pick one and pull it out just so I can kind of learn from that and do hopefully get it operational, reinstall it, and then continue with the other 19 if they all should need it. So, okay, first step is look inside, see what's working. So starting with the left side of the bus, I'm going to take a look and see how many of these ones open. Nope. Yes. Nope. Yes. Yes. Ooh, well, partial. The latch on this one needs to be fixed. It's kind of stuck to go back down. No. Ugh, no. Yes. Kind of going off camera here, but the last 2, no. And no. So same thing on the other side. Nope. Yep. Almost a yes. Yes. No. No. Yes. No. No. And kind of going off camera here. No and no. So one thing I want to be mindful of when I take out these windows, there are rubber seals that kind of go 2 pieces here. One's kind of this bent piece in this particular window, and then a vertical one. They are quite brittle. I don't have a replacement as of yet. I need to figure out what's in there, what kind of seal is that, and then let the hunting begin to try to find something to replace it. So I still want these windows to be usable. Again, I'm focusing on just trying to get them so that they can open. So I need to be mindful of that. So we'll see how I do here with one of the windows. So I'm going to try to remove this window. It also needs a replacement on the latch here. The bottom, the non-moving part is broken off, so I'll need to replace that. I do have a spare. So the first step is to remove this trim piece, which unfortunately this window is stuck ever so slightly up, and that is preventing access to the screws. So I'm going to try to tap it down with just a hammer and a block of wood and see if that gives me access enough there that I can pull that off. Well, if need be, I might be able to pull off the top of this. Maybe that'll get me access to it, we'll see. There we go, good. And the next step is to take that out, huh? Okay. See if these make a difference. Unfortunately, broke the head of that one. Yeah, so it didn't talk about removing those two screws, it only said the top three. Hey, here we go. Yeah, so there is, I'll only show it, but there's where that screw broke off. So yeah, it is attached to the frame, but so the maintenance manual doesn't mention removing those two. It only says the top two. So, are these bottom ones not original? Maybe those were added later by Santa Monica or Kent State. So it came out, there's all of the rubber work on it, the seal. So I'll try to keep that. So just like a little U-channel. So hopefully that should be easy enough to, if that'll focus, easy enough to replace there. Awesome, well there's step one. All right, now that I have the window out of the bus, start by removing the little lock. All right. So this is the busted one. If I can get this to focus, which I guess it may not, but now let me bring the camera over here. So here's what one is supposed to look like. Again, this is the Visionator system here. So it's a spring-loaded plunger that opens that little lock there. Whoops, lost a screw. And then this is the busted one. And as you can see, it's missing part of the little thumb grab, I guess, or maybe a finger grab on there. So I do have a replacement, so I'll do that. So the screw that just fell out of here is actually the screw that holds in the little plunger. You can see a cut out there. That's where the screw goes through to hold this in place. So I'll need to grab that here off the floor. Remove these screws. I'm thinking at some point here I'm going to get replacement springs. I mean, I've looked at a couple of these. The springs seem to be something better than others. It wouldn't hurt to go and replace them all. But again, this is more operational. It's not a final cosmetic presentation for the window. So when it gets to that, I mean, all of this needs to be, you know, polished and buffed, including these. And at that point, I would, you know, look at some of the details. So, yeah, so I do have a replacement for this broken one. The replacement that I got was off of Unit 24, the sister coach to this, which was up until recently in a junkyard not far away. And during the year of the pandemic, Unit 24 went away. They scrapped every bus they had. I didn't know it at the time until I looked at basically Google Earth, and at that point realized, oh man, it's gone. And that kind of stinks because, you know, that was a source of parts, because it was basically the exact same coach that I have. So that's a bit of a loss. So now the next step is going to be to try to get this window out of the frame. I don't know the best way of doing that without damaging the glass. So we'll proceed with caution. So maybe my wooden block, and I can kind of tap it back up and see if that goes. Well, maybe a little bit's moving. You know what? I'm going to see if I can put some WD-40 in there. Maybe that'll loosen it up. And then when I went to the junkyard, again, this is, I don't know how many years ago, I got a bag of some window parts. I've already used some on the bus, so let's see what I have in here. So I have, oh, there we go. So in that I have a replacement. So these are not, you know, universal. There is a left and a right one. As you can see, they're mirrors of each other, if that'll focus on there. So I've already used two because I was missing a couple, maybe I was using three. So this one is the left one, and I do have one more left ones, but this one's kind of a little stuck, so we'll see if we can improve that. And one thing that I won't even try to show it on there, but I will say that on these little, maybe I'll try to get a picture later, but on these little latches, it does say Visionator on it. So it does have the brand on these too. I'm guessing the other types of windows may have the same. And again, even these little plungers here, if I can, so even these little plungers, you know, aren't, they're limited by what side they're on, you know, left or right. So I'm gonna try to brighten that up a little bit with just a little bit of fine grit sandpaper. Yeah, I can. And then actually I'll wrap a little bit around a pencil here just so I can try to get the inside in case there's any larger pieces that were prevented that from moving. And then the last thing, I'm gonna put a little lubricant on there as well. So hopefully that prevents any more lockups. Okay, well, there you go. There's the slightly buffed and then lubricated lock, and that seems to be working a lot better. Do the same thing for the other side real quick. All right, now let's see if this thing is, didn't loosen it up at all. It does a little bit, the frame is a little bit warped. There's a bit of a pinch point right here. Huh. So, you know, the other side seems normal, so maybe came out of the factory that way, not sure. I may have to use bigger guns. Well, I'm gonna try something else here and see if I can get this thing off. So the wooden lock block seems to be working. This is the kind of method I came up with. There's these two little pegs on here, and I'm just kind of lightly tapping against those to bring it down. And it is going to fight me the whole way down. I'll make some blocks to put that on. So I don't know if you can actually pull this frame all the way out. I guess if I looked ahead, I would have seen it. But those little pegs are probably stops so that someone doesn't slide the window too far up. And then there's this little catch here, probably to stop that. And I don't think I can tap past that. So I don't know if that's going to involve having to dismantle the frame. There's a screw up there, but where does that get me? So that may not be needed. A little more investigation here. All right, so now looking closer at this, I guess this is why it's a learning process. Yeah, so I can't get the frame past those stops that are on there, if I can show you a stop. So I can't get the frame past that. So obviously what would make sense would be dismantle the frame. And there's a screw there, so I guess I didn't need to tap that all the way down, easily have pulled it apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, well, I think I figured it out, or I guess I know I figured it out. This actually unscrews. Oh my gosh. So there you go, game changer, lesson learned. Hey, all right. So all the channels of the sliding portion, again, if I can get it to focus here, is just kind of this woven strap, you know, maybe ½ inch or something like that, and then it's folded and stuck into the channels of the sliding window. So while I wasn't planning on doing any restoration, if you will, operationally, I do think I need to get some more of this. This stuff is brittle, and well, as you can see, it's already been breaking apart, so I only have pieces of it. So at least I got the thing apart. I can probably see if I can find something like this online, and then I'll do a little bit of a reassembly at that point. But before then, I'm probably going to come in and just do a little light sanding just to knock off. There are some, it's relatively smooth, I guess. There's probably some of these corners, maybe where water kind of sat and it kind of got a little gunky. So I'm going to go ahead and brush those up as well. So I'm going to call this the end of the first step, which is now the window removal. Learned some things along the way. Again, I've done nothing of this sort before, and I don't remember how many windows worked on the inside of the 20. Maybe I have 15 more windows to kind of do the same process to. And as with anything, I expect the first one's going to take the longest because I don't know what I'm doing. I learned a couple things on this one. And also it's going to be some parts. I think I'm going to, again, try to find some of that fabric material just for the channels because it's going to let that slide a little bit better. And then I'll just do some cosmetic sanding and polishing of those internal rails to hopefully make it work a little better. So yeah, that's kind of it for window removal. Whenever I get the opportunity to play with the bus again, I'm going to hopefully, and if I have the parts, do a reassembly. The one thing I'm not going to be diving into is the rubber seals. The ones I have seem to be okay. That's probably going to take more research. I'll be looking into it. If it's an easy purchase, it's something maybe I'll do as well. I can replace both at the same time, but at some point the windows have to come back out for the final polishing. So anyway, so that's it for window removal. I don't know. It was educational for me and kind of for future self. Hopefully the other ones get easier. So fingers crossed for that. Okay, bye.